So light has a colour, light has a spectrum, and the spectrum goes from infrared right the way through to ultraviolet. So you have a rainbow that actually shows you that spectrum. Red, orange, yellow, blue, green, India, something like that. I'm not sure. Anyway, what happens here is the light from the sun has the full spectrum of colour, but now because we're actually shaded, the clouds are there, we're now being lit as much by blue light and cooler colours. So the light now is cooler than it was earlier with the sun. Okay? And our eyes will actually adjust for this, so they'll see my white trousers, and we'll see them as white, regardless of the light falling on them. Now, inside a bar, for example, you might have a tungsten light, you might have an incandescent light, and that's essentially just a normal light bulb, and it will give out orange light, red light, warm light, but very little blue or green light, and therefore, when you take photographs in there, using the settings, for example, using a film in there, colour film, the photographs will turn out too yellow. And therefore, the skin tones don't look as nice, and generally the photographs don't look as nice. Our eyes will actually adjust for this. If I'm in a bar, you're going to see these trousers as white regardless, even though physically they've actually got yellow light bouncing off. So what we actually have in our eyes is a thing called white balance. We can actually see a whole range of different colours of light and then see the colours accurately. So we'll see the shirt as blue and red regardless of the light falling on it. But the camera doesn't see this. The camera sees very, very objectively. So what happens here is the camera will actually see for daylight, it will see light coming down from the sky now is quite blue. It will see light in the bar is quite orange. And the digital cameras can actually allow us to change that. With film, I have to actually have special film, tungsten film for inside, or have to use filters on the front. Digital cameras have a thing called white balance, and that's really, really useful. So can I borrow a digital camera? Thanks so much. Okay. So the white balance is indicated by the WB on the back of your camera. WB for white balance. And when you look at it, you've got a range of options. You've got auto white balance that will actually allow the camera to decide what you should be getting. And then you've got a number of presets. So let's suppose I'm photographing inside, and the camera sees a lot of orange, a lot of yellow light. It will adjust the white balance to compensate and try and make the colours more natural. But it often won't do it enough. If I'm photographing a sunset, for example, then the camera will see all the orange light on the sunset and then try and remove some of that orange light because it thinks it's inside. And you've got a sort of a range between orange and blue. A sunset should be orange. The camera tries to bring it back to neutral, and therefore you take a picture of a sunset and you think, it doesn't look how I wanted it to look. It doesn't look how it should have looked. That's the white balance. That's the camera trying to guess what you're taking a photograph of, and in this case not doing a good job. So by setting the white balance to sunny, little picture of a sun on your white balance presets, it will actually ensure the camera is just thinking of a white in terms of direct sunlight. And so when you photograph a sunset, set your white balance to the little sun, and you're going to keep all the orange and the red and the lovely colours of a sunset. Really useful. Okay? So there are a number of different presets for different things. And on this camera we've got tungsten for use indoors. So that will actually remove some of the orange light or skew things towards the blue range. So if I use tungsten preset in a bar, I'm going to get better photographs normally than auto white balance. I've got daylight for use now. I've got fluorescent light for the strip lights, because they're normally quite green. And I've got shade. So now we're actually lit by the clouds, so we've also got cloudy as well. And as I said, we've got this blue light that will actually compensate. So now we're in slightly a blue light, and therefore the camera will make things slightly warmer colours, oranges and reds and yellows, to compensate for that. And we also got flash as well, because the flash is a slightly blue light, and therefore compensating, we have a slightly orange tone. So by changing the preset based on the light you're photographing in, and that's actually what I mean is the light on your subject, not where you're standing. So I could be standing in a bar photographing outside, and if there's direct sunlight, I want to actually set the white balance for that direct sunlight, not for incandescent for the bar. And you can therefore do quite a bit with that. But there's also another use for this. You can change this creatively. So for example, now I should probably be using cloudy because it's cloudy, but if I set it to tungsten, it's going to assume that there's too much orange light and take it away and make it blue. So if I take a picture now, it's actually going to make the picture blue. It's going to give a blue colour cast to the picture. So if I take two pictures close together, change the white balance again to a warm setting like cloudy, for example, take another picture, I'm then going to get a very warm colour. Thanks. So I'm going to get a very warm colour. Okay. I change the white balance then to cloudy. So essentially in any scene you can actually change your preset white balance to make it accurate, or you can change your preset white balance to have creative effects. And what we actually find is that when we have white balances like incandescent to make it blue, it makes it feel slightly cold, like a colder picture. Or we can change it to something like to flash or to cloudy, and that's going to give a very, very orange picture normally. And that's going to allow us to create a sort of a sunny and a nice kind of happy atmosphere. So by changing the white balance, we can do it for accuracy or for creative effect. So I want you to experiment with your white balance now. I'm just going to explain quickly the preset though. Because of course we've also got custom white balance. Custom white balance is essentially you saying to a camera, this should be white in a scene. And therefore you choose a neutral tone like the white of this chap's shirt, or the grey of a neutral billboard, for example. Say this should be white or this should be neutral, this shouldn't have any colour. And then using your white balance, your custom white balance setting. Now this varies between cameras, so I'm not going to explain it. Have a look at your camera manual. I'll explain it separately later, but have a look at the custom white balance as a means to get the colours perfectly accurate. But you can also use the custom white balance and set it against something blue, like this little chap's shirt, or something orange, to skew the light the other way. So you could say, this is too blue, and therefore the camera's going to make it orange, or this is too orange, the camera's going to make it blue. Okay? So, play around with your white balance now. Try some of the presets, and try for accuracy, and then try for creative effect to make things like winter or like summer. Okay? There we are. Okay. You had a